No, that's fair.
That's why I was like,
just make sure with the mic as well, you just speak into it like that.
yeah, easy.
And you can pull it in and stuff. We live. Oh, wait, shit. G'day, mate. What's going on? That ain't a knife. This is a knife. What's another good Aussie slang? I ride my kangaroo to work. Does it sound Australian?
I feel like it's how you going.
Yeah, how you going, mate?
It's a bit how you going.
Yeah, a bit how you going?
It's a how you going, mate.
So this is episode 209.
God, you keep asking me that, I don't know.
Every episode I'll ask, because I got to see if you're onto it. I think it's 208. Maybe 209? Dan, what episode do you reckon it is? Before you look.
208?
208, yeah, you was going to say 208? Like, all right, here we go. Here we go. Jasper's got the good news or the bad news.
Hold on.
No, he's taking ages. Taking ages.
See, if you paid me, maybe I'd do a little
If
quicker.
I could pay you, I will pay you. I can't pay you. This is all for free.
If I
Just
didn't
gotta
live,
get that sponsorship money.
That's it. That's what we need.
like, if you gave me more than just like crumbs for
Yeah. And the cage.
every night, in the
That last
cage.
episode where he's sitting in the cage, apparently. Anyway, let's just get this ball rolling. So it is 208.
It's 208.
Yeah, 208. All right, you're all right. Dan's right. So tonight on the podcast, sorry about that intro. So we have Dan Macbride coming on. You're a photographer, a videographer. You've been doing it for quite a while, like a couple of years now. Like,
Yeah, a few years.
Yeah.
Professionally, probably since I was 30, so 36 now, so 6 years.
nice, yeah, okay.
That's probably when I graduated and really started taking it seriously.
And so just like every episode, but like, so you do photos, you do videos, like project
Videos
works?
is probably the last couple of years, so
Yeah, yeah.
branching out.
What else do you do?
At the moment, I'm kind of branching out to a bit more of a visual artist side as well, so mixing mediums.
Yep.
I guess how I see the world, I have always loved photography, especially film, and use that to kind of explore that realm. And now it's kind of like I want to also add a bit more elements into it.
Yeah, okay. What type of film were you into? Like
Well,
just-
35mm. I used to shoot on 35mm. It's one of my first cameras.
No, wow,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
that's all right.
So
That's
I
very
got
cool.
given this Canon AE1, and it didn't work. So I took it apart, ordered some parts on eBay.
Wait, did you find the camera? Like, what? Why did you make that remark? Is the camera?
Oh no,
good?
no, it's just like I bought one for like $160 with 3 extra lenses, like the biggest bargain
The
I've
Canon
ever bought.
AE1.
Yeah, the AE1.
They go for like $500 now.
I know.
Yeah, it's
How crazy is
insane.
that?
Can you pull one up? Let's have a look. Like, but yeah, so you got that.
Yeah, I
camera,
took it
okay.
apart and then just started shooting with it. And
Yeah,
then,
okay.
it's kind of when you're developing film in the darkroom, it's different than when you're working on a screen and you're not getting that instant kind of hit, so you can't change as you go. So there's all these weird and wonderful happy accidents. And I remember at school, because it's like the only subject I was really kind of good at, and you're kind of in the dark room and you're watching the picture develop, and I was like, fuck, this is epic. This is
So
just magical.
So you were doing that in school, like photography, like as
Yeah,
a
in
unit?
high school here, I
Mm.
did it in year 9.
That's cool.
I left in year 10. I did
Yep.
year 10 as well.
Yep.
But yeah, just watching that picture develop is
Yeah, because you were saying to me, like, you sent me a whole bunch of stuff before, and it's like along your journey. But then, like, so it started out in high school, then, right?
well. I always think I've been creative.
Yeah.
I always used to try and write stories, which never really articulated too much because I'm super dyslexic.
Yeah.
So it'd be this broken English, crappy thing, and then just these awesome pictures. And then
Awesome pictures, though.
yeah. I was good at kind of drawing all that other stuff, all the kind of stuff that's visual. And then coming here when I was about 13, 14,
Where'd you come from? Where were you before?
UK.
Oh, the UK.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
British then. Damn.
Well, half Scottish, half English.
Nice. Okay.
Half
would-
my side hates my other side.
yeah. Okay. I didn't even pick up the accent or anything like that. So
That's because when I started to learn to talk properly and articulate my words,
yeah.
it
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
dissipated.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
there, like it's there.
Yeah.
In some words, in some little slangs.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. But then, so you came over here, year 9, did photos, videos, and then like from there.
Yeah.
like,
Well, I was doing when I came here. I remember it wasn't the best experience because I always just felt like an outsider. I think that's just because I'm neurodivergent, a little bit weird, and I wanted to create, and everyone wanted to do all these other things, and
just didn't know many people and stuff, or
Yeah,
people in
it's
the
a
industry, or
different culture in year 10.
Yeah.
Coming from the UK, it's so different. Yeah. But finding that, I was like, this is sick. I'm actually good at something. And I remember thinking it's sick, and I was like, I did think about pursuing it then, but I was also kind of told, like, you're not academically minded. You should leave school and get a trade, which is what I did.
It's so terrible though. It's like how schools can just tell you, like, I don't think they do it anymore. They might encourage you, but at the same time, like, everyone's got a creative bone in their body. You should be able to just go out and just figure out what you do like and go from there.
Yeah.
Because, like, you said you were a brickie, right? So then, like, yeah, how did you land on that? At least you've got a trade, which is cool.
Well,
But
I didn't have the grades to become an electrician because you need a high score in maths, and then they were offering pre-app, so I just went and did that. Did my pre-app, and then worked for this horrible old Italian man that shouted at me profusely, and I told my dad. I remember telling him, he's like, "No, that's normal on site." And he picked me up one day, and he comes out, and he's like, he's a fucking tough Glaswegian guy. And he comes up and he's like, get in the car down, and then shout at this guy, and he's like, you're not working for him again. And he goes, I'm sorry I didn't listen to you. And I was like, okay, I guess it was really bad then. But I was just thinking it was just a normal thing. But yeah, this guy was, he was horrible.
Well, that's it. Like, sometimes, because you're an apprentice, right?
Yeah, I was an apprentice.
That's it. Sometimes
$2.46 a fucking week.
$2.46 a week.
Yeah, and they reckon that's half a brickie's wage.
Nah, brickies are getting, I think, like $1.30 a brick at the moment. Like, and they can lay up to 500 bricks a day if they want to.
Yeah.
Like, or maybe that's 300 or 400 bricks or something like that. Like, brickies are getting a lot of money these days. Like, I think maybe more. I don't know. Maybe it's $2 a brick. I remember talking to someone.
At the moment, I think it's about $2 a brick. I've had a few calls for like, do you want to come back? And I'm like, no.
Yeah, no, you do your back in. It's full on labor.
I have no interest coming to work
as a brickie anymore. Well, you're creative now, which is awesome, right?
Yeah, well, I think it's always there, especially with most people. It's just got to be nurtured and kind of, you've got to continuously absorb different kinds of art and kind of push it more than just like, I'm creative, because you get stuck in different realms. And
yeah, that's it. So then, like, you left school, year 10, became a brickie, and then, like, how did you pick up the creative bone again and then, like, start swinging it?
So it was kind of weird. I mean, that how you going that we were saying earlier. I mean, I remember being a brickie, and it was like I was working for Brad and Matt, and they were like, that's not what you do. You got to say how you going. So they really got it into my head that you got to kind of stop, and every person walks past me packing up the ute, you got to be like, how you going? And there's this real dry standing on the ute, and he's like sitting there, and I'm like, okay.
All right, yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair, yeah.
Or just fucking with me, but I thought it was real.
Yeah. I mean, you're from overseas, and you come over here, and they're like, Aussies like, this is how you do it. How you going?
But I think it was probably in my 20s. I was just not fulfilled bricklaying. I hated it. I think from about 20 to 23, I did not work a Monday, and then used to have these sayings that it's like, oh, Dan's gone on his walkabout again, because I would just make money and then be like, fuck this, I'm out, I'm going on holiday.
That, once again, such an Aussie thing, go on walkabout.
Yeah.
But yeah, go on.
There's a few times I had to kind of message Brad and be like, hey man, can you give me some funds and I'll come back and work at a discounted rate, and then I'll get back up, and then I'll piss off again.
Yeah, all right.
But I kind of found it. I was like, I wanted to write originally, because I thought, yeah, I like writing, I like stories, I like that visual kind of concept in my head to get it out. And I started reteaching myself kind of English, few things to take the stat test, and kind of how to articulate my words better.
That's incredible. That is incredible that you re-taught yourself English, like, just to get a better understanding and actually improve on yourself. Like.
Yeah, well, I wanted to get in, so I started with journalism, so I thought that would be an interesting kind of...
What, university? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What uni were you at?
I was at ECU.
Okay. In Joondalup, or?
No, the Mount Lawley campus.
Oh, Mount Lawley campus. Nice.
Yeah,
okay.
That's where the communication, the arts hub is.
Yeah, yep.
But I did my first semester, and I was like, pick your major and minor, and I was like, looking at it, I was like, photography. That's fucking me.
Yeah.
It's right there. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, spot on. Just point out it. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
But I do remember my second week at uni, I was first up to get, they pick the names out of the hat sometimes, and I'm never first. I'd do this oral presentation, and I'd done the work, and I was like, get up, and I'm looking out at everyone, and it's like, I hadn't really done well in school. I haven't really been into any educational stuff apart from talking in the mirror to myself and practicing how to talk. And I looked at everyone, I went to say something, and just threw up in the bin, and I was like, fuck, and left.
Straight away,
Yeah, straight away outside, and the fucking lecturer comes out. He grabs me aside, and he's like, what's going on? And I told him my story, and it was like, he's like, go home, come see me next week. And I come see him next week, and he's in his office. He pulls out this whiskey bottle. He goes, your work's good. You can do this. I had a few nips of whiskey. Go back in. And I just fucking did it.
Nice.
And I was like, that wasn't that hard.
Yeah, that's it.
What I was scared of.
Yeah.
Just those nerves kind of get you. And it's like,
that's what I've always said on the podcast, just quickly. It's like with DJing or producing or this or that, throw yourself in the deep end.
yeah.
Because once you throw yourself in the deep end, it's not that bad next time. Because if you go and play to 50 people you don't know, then you go play to 100 people. It's like, well, this is not that bad. It's double the amount of people. It's not that bad, right?
I've definitely been put into some odd situations. Because one of my housemates, Ben, used to do a lot of shows for Fringe.
Shout out Ben, by the way, if you're watching.
Yeah. But he put this show on CEO Connor's Horse, and he kind of goes, I helped write it, helped kind of do some photos on it, and about 2 hours before the show, he's like, someone's pulled out, Dan, I need you to do this script. I'm like, dude, I'm super dyslexic. I can't learn these, like, any words. He's like, I've shortened it for you. And afterwards, I was like, I couldn't even talk to people. I was, like, anxiety ridden.
Really?
Just, like, you know, getting up and doing really crap. Like, it was really bad the first night. Third night, I kind of nailed it.
Yeah.
Because we'd done it a few times. But I was like, everyone's talking. I was like, I gotta go have 6 pints and be better. Which I did, and then the next night was a bit easier.
Yeah.
But it's just that fear, because when you kind of have a bit of a learning disability, you have a kind of, back then you have a lot of people filling your head with a lot of doubt, and that
That's
always
it. Yeah.
kind of sits there.
Yeah, back in the day, it's changed a lot these days. A lot more people are just encouraged as well, but at the same time, it still happens though, because that's where it's like how the industry people are like, oh well, if he's not going to be into it and he's not going to be like me, well then what's the point in being in the industry? But you need to encourage. How do you let people like? How do you let the new Jimi Hendrix come through? You know, how do you let the new bloody superstars and the absolute like weapons that are really good at doing what they do? But if they're a little bit worried or a little bit anxious or this or that, and then someone turns around and be like, nah, you're not good, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's not fair. Like how do you let them spread their wings and fly away? Like,
Plus, different brains, they nurture.
Yeah.
Well, they're nurturing a lot more different brains now. I mean, creative schools do a lot of good stuff for people with learning disabilities.
yeah,
But yeah, you're right. Bob Dylan, I don't think he would make it in today's industry because
it's too cutthroat.
yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
Mighty Bush definitely would not go on BBC.
Nah, no way.
Yeah, fucking.
Yeah, that's like Little Britain as well. I was looking at that the other day,
God.
and I was like,
That is not.
yeah,
aged
I
well.
don't think they can do that anymore. But yeah. So in saying that, so then like you're getting discouraged and stuff like that, and then so you're drinking like 6 pints. Like,
I know. That was more of a saying that it just to
oh
calm my
yeah,
nerves.
that's fair. Yeah,
But yeah, I had a couple pints after that show just to kind of decompress.
Yep.
And it's not as if like I didn't do it. It's like I knew that he needed someone, and I was like, I really don't have the confidence to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway because it's you got to push yourself sometimes, and it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, it is. It can be
And
terrifying. Yeah.
If you don't take that risk, you're not gonna really move forward.
Yeah, but in saying that though, it's like for now where you have come like all the experience you've had and all the things you've done, like you're so much happier now in today's day and age after going through all that, and now you're comfortable with stuff, right?
Yeah, I feel great these days. I feel
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because like up until probably the last kind of 4 years, I've always felt like the underdog, and I've always kind of come from there, and that's like where I sit in comfort because that's what I've always been. But now it's weird because people ask me for advice. People are inspired by my work. They're asking me to mentor. They're asking me to come assist so they can learn. And I'm like, what?
That's it. You're a mentor now, which is cool. Like.
Yeah, but it's like a whole different world of thinking because it's praise. And I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, what is praise?
What is this warmth? Come to me.
Yeah.
I like this feeling, but also too much. Let's just little bits at a time.
No, that's fair. So then in saying that as well, so like, because then you did the show, and then like, what happened after that? Like, where did it go from there? Like,
well, I didn't really do much performing after that because I've never, like, I like performing, but I also
just wasn't
like,
your thing.
I just want to create stuff.
Yeah.
I want to build stuff, create stuff, put on shows, conceptualize the ideas in my head, and just really run with it. And I think back then it was kind of figuring out where I wanted to take my photography work. So I was shooting a lot of venues, shooting a lot of bands, working for a few magazines that paid pretty much absolutely nothing, and they probably still, I don't think they would pay much, but I don't think they see the value in photography.
Which is so silly though, because it's like with a nightclub or a pub or a bar or something, if they're throwing an event and don't have a photographer, what the hell are they doing?
Yeah.
Like that's it. You need a videographer and a photographer. Like if you don't have any media published on your social media from that photographer or videographer, something wrong with that bar. Like
And they always just kind of want it for cheaper.
yeah,
Yeah, it's weird.
that's it. And that's where it's unfortunate because, like, I have to say, like, after doing this podcast for so long, a lot of people that just enter the scene will do it for free. It's not fair. They shouldn't do it for free. They should get
Yeah.
paid. Everyone should get paid.
I mean, would you work
regardless.
as an accountant for free? Probably
That's
not.
it. Would you be a lawyer for free? No. What? Even if it's your first week on the job? No.
Yeah, no
You
way.
get employed.
I mean,
Like,
they probably do. They probably have the internships, and then they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, fuck off now.
yeah, that's it. Yeah. No, but we
also
won't talk about that.
You don't learn if you're going. You'll take longer to learn,
Mm.
and unless you're kind of absorbing other people's artwork or other people's photography, you can go do it. But if you're inexperienced, you won't understand what's good, what's bad,
Yeah.
what makes a good photo, what makes a fucking like fuck yeah, this is an awesome photo.
Yeah.
And it's like it's called the diversive moment. It's like a
Okay.
split second. It's like a mini second between an epic photo. It's normally in the kind of photojournalism world, street photography kind of world.
Yeah.
And it's a very short moment between this photo being really fucking good to bad.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's like the more you kind of shoot, the more you understand, the better you get.
Yeah.
And it's the new people coming in doing it for free. I just don't think they would learn as much as
Yeah.
going and becoming part of someone saying, "No, we'll pay you. I can run you through, go assist other photographers." There's a lot of photographers always
That's
looking
it.
for assistance.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Is a lot of these industries, like artistic and like creative industries. I would say that it's good to have a mentor, someone to show you the ropes and guide you almost, because it's like everyone's got a different opinion or a different way they do it, but
Yeah.
at least you can get some sort of understanding to know what to do, and then you can see other people do it differently, and you're like, oh, I'll combine that with my method and make it improve on your overall method, right?
Yeah, especially assisting, because you can assist different people. You can even assist on film sets if you want to get a bit of film knowledge.
That's it.
I've probably been assisting Luke Carter-Wilton for about...
Luke Carter-Wilton, is he on?
Yeah, you can pull up his website. He's a incredible photographer, incredible at lighting, very tech-savvy,
Yeah.
3D animation. Probably one of the most tech photographers in WA, I reckon.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
But yeah, since I was 30, I still assist him because I just like working with him.
Mm.
And it's great. But he taught me an incredible amount, and you can kind of see it in some parts of my work where my lighting comes from.
Wow, this is a really good website. Yeah. So then, backtracking. So then you did that. You did the performing, and then how did photography? So you did it as a minor, and then you.
No, I did it as a major.
As a major.
I swapped my journalism to a minor and did it. Well, I actually fucked up at the end of my degree because I had a French minor and a journalism minor,
Okay.
and I did too many units.
You did too many units.
I did too many units.
Yeah, is that
And I was like-
possible?
Well, they didn't say anything to me, and I just didn't really understand the whole concept.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did photography as a major, and it just kind of like felt right to me. I always had a camera on me. I still kind of most times still have a camera on me.
Yeah.
And then back then, I just shot absolutely everything, whether it was shit or nothing. I just shot every day.
And so you just kept filling up your hard drive then.
Yeah. I found an old hard drive and I was looking at it, and there's these self-portraits of me, and I'm like, oh man.
This is from a long time ago. 6 years ago.
I was like, oh, I was that pretty boy that had a bit of arrogance to him. I can see that.
At least
Fucking
you're honest.
And they're not
Nice.
great photos at all. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what was I doing? I've lined up all my favorite hobby stuff, and I'm like, why did I shoot this?
Just practice.
Yeah, I think I had this idea, or I wanted to be the cool guy, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
The
it's
Instagram photos.
always pulling my friends in back then to like weird shoots or weird things, and I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. That's fine. Yeah, I'll cover myself in champagne and explode it in the studio.
How was doing the uni course? Would you say it's worth it, like at ECU, or?
I would say it's worth it, but I come from something different, so I had that time to kind of meet people like me, talk about art, which I never really had before,
Yeah.
and
similar
really
minds.
explore that kind of part of me in a way that I can keep asking questions. There's no real pressure. I was working at a bar with a lot of other creatives and musicians and stuff, Rosemount Hotel,
Oh yeah.
back in the glory days.
Yeah. Yeah. Before they made that new beer garden, which is still good,
It's still good.
but they just changed the bar inside where the band was, and that was the biggest change.
I mean, it's still magical to go see a gig there, but
Yeah.
we used to get, if we made over 60K, we used to get a bottle and 2 cartons, and most of the time the band would come and drink with us.
That's awesome.
I remember meeting Living End and Chris Cheney. I was pouring tequila down his throat. I was like, have a tequila shot. One for me.
For the Living End. Fuck yeah. That's sick.
So there was a lot of good times there, but it was a lot of good meeting all these different creatives and getting them to come and like, I want to shoot your band, or I want to do this idea, and they're like, fuck yeah, let's do it, you know. Because some of like my other friends would be like, I'm not doing that, Dan.
Yeah.
I'm not. That seems a bit, you know,
out
the
there.
nose. I'm like, just do it.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Like, why not? You don't know what you could get out of it. Like, it could turn out really well. It's art.
Yeah.
Art can turn out really well.
I mean, I think towards the end of my growth, it took about 5 years to do it. I was more interested in looking, because they've got a massive library at ECU of different photographers. So I was always hiring books out, and always just looking and exploring and going, fuck, I like this photographer. And I'm trying to figure out why they shot it or the concept behind it. Like Dave LaChapelle, a lot of his kind of fashion stuff
can we
he
look
shot.
that up? Dave LaChapelle?
Yeah.
Okay.
A
Because
lot
when you said that through, I just got to say, I thought you meant Dave Chappelle. I was thinking like, he's a photographer now and a comedian?
No, Dave LaChapelle was, he's a photographer. He was picked up by Andy Warhol. And
Oh,
Andy Warhol's
really? So it's
magazine.
Dave LaChapelle?
Yeah, Dave LaChapelle.
Oh, it's not right.
And it's Dave, not David.
Ah, this guy. Yep. So he got picked
So-
up by Andy Warhol. Nice.
Yeah, and some of his origin story is like he started working in nightclubs, and I guess like when I started working in clubs, you kind of get this vibe, and he loved the scene, and he was going around in that AIDS pandemic as well.
Oh, okay.
So I think his boyfriend died of AIDS around 24, and he was 21.
No,
So he didn't know what was going on. No one really knew what was going on, and he wanted to create something beautiful. So some of his early portraiture was just these real out there, beautiful, painted on film, really contrasty, colorful work.
Painted on film. What do you mean by that?
So I think like when you get film, like that's why they say like Photoshop, and people are like, oh no, I'm a purist, I shoot film, but they always used to edit film. Like
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
you paint on film, you can scratch wrinkles off. They used to be like people that did this. I'm like, that's insane.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's full on job. Like.
but yeah, so you can kind of paint on film stuff in a little bit. It's another way of kind of pushing the boundaries. So it's like photography to me isn't just about shooting something or creating a conceptual image. You've got all these other avenues that you can kind of add these to, which start heading into a bit of a more of a visual art world. But you know,
Well, that's the thing about it, right? Is that photography and videography, there is just, it's like DJing. There's so many different genres, different way you can do it, different like music, different instruments. Like it's just, photography is so dynamic.
yeah,
You can take one photo, something. I'll take take the exact same photo, but yours will be different to mine. Like
Yeah.
it's just slightly different, or whatever the goal is.
depends how we were growing up or how we mediate the world, really.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
But like a lot of his fashion stuff always had a meaning behind it. There's a whole series where it's inflatable kind of burgers because he's a vegan, and you know the meat industry is crushing,
Yeah.
which is amazing. But even they just always had this other concept to them, even though it was a shoe ad. And I love that. I really think that we are missing a lot more stuff like that.
Well, that's it, and that's like it's the out there creativity, I would say, for photography, because it's like, I have to say, it just feels like photography these days is either like literally venue photography, wedding photography, or taking photos of girls on the beach.
Yeah.
Or people on the beach, but like
I'm not gonna lie, those photos of girls on the beach I find so fucking boring.
Oh, really?
It's not like, I get there's like an area for it, but it just doesn't interest me.
Yeah, okay.
It's a pretty human that you're just photographing in some kind of lighting, and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I get it. It's for the person. It's not for like the masses. It's not really. It's for the person that is being shot.
That's it. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's for their content, not
Yeah.
for the world's content, which does make sense. It's like, look at Luke Carter right there, like Pontiac in that desert. The thing is with that is that what does that portray? Adventure, darkness, and like who knows? Like,
I mean, there's so much tech involved in that as well, and the technical know-how of lighting.
Yeah.
That whole car, like product photography, is a whole nother field of just lighting in
that's
general.
it. So like when you went and did your uni course, did you get units on lighting and like how
We
to
did, but it is very kind of basic. So it's like your 1:4 ratio of lighting. You kind of different. It's not huge in pushing you to push the things. You can push it, but you've really got to kind of look at other photographers.
Yeah.
It's like that old famous saying where it's like some of my teachers are alive and some of my teachers are dead. Because you've got books that you read and absorb.
That's a good saying.
Yeah, I love it. I can't remember who said it, but I have it written. I've always had it written on every room I've lived in.
Really?
Because it's like, it's right. You should always invest in more art or more art books.
Yep.
Old or new, or always look. Same with music.
Yeah.
And it's like, you just get so inspired by some stuff. And you're like, fuck it, yeah, how did they do that? How did they like that? Or even painters or drawers from there. Like Rembrandt lighting comes from basically because his window was here. So when he painted here, there was always that kind of glow across here. So now people use it in photography, and it's called Rembrandt lighting, but it's
called what?
Rembrandt lighting. The artist Rembrandt. So.
Yeah, Rembrandt. But can we look up Rembrandt as well?
Yeah,
that's full.
But it's really interesting. Like I've started using it a little bit, and it's like there's just so many avenues you can go with lighting, and it does depend on the person because everyone's shaped differently. So it's every time I shoot someone, I change the lighting slightly for every different facial
I
feature.
see what you mean. It's that glow like that. Yeah.
It's like this big kind of window washing through.
Yeah, that's it. Well, like, see, like, go on the old school photo, like that one there with the arrow, down. That one, yeah. So yeah, you can see it's like even with old paintings.
So that would be a kind of Rembrandt painting, I think. I'm a bit rusty on it.
Maybe, yeah.
Don't hold me to that.
So then what type of photography, so like you did your uni course and then how did you find breaking out into the industry? Like what was your first paid gig in the industry?
Oh.
And like, were you excited? What was the go? Like just, what was the story behind it basically?
I remember my first gig, it was for my mate Tomo. And he was like starting up when he was just starting up. Big Tomo Presents.
I was about to say, is that Big Tomo Presents?
Yeah. He was just
trying to get
up.
him on here, but he's so busy.
Oh, he's always busy.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
With him ages.
Yeah, really.
But we live different lives. So we're both creative, so it's like it's hard.
That's it.
But he gave me my first gig where he's like, "Do you want to shoot this?" I was like, "I'll shoot." It was at Yaya's. I remember Yaya's.
Yaya's? Whereabouts was Yaya's?
Yaya's is where the Orange Bar is in Northbridge, across from NBC. It was like that roundabout where that weird snake used to be. It used to be on the corner. And there was heaps of bands that used to play there, and it was...
Is that... Because it was not... It's not convenience, though. No. It's not where next to Air nightclub?
Yeah, it is next to Air.
And it's like downstairs. Yeah. What's that place called? I thought... look up... go on Google Maps and look up Air nightclub and what's right next to it. It's like an English pub,
Yeah, like
or Irish pub or something.
Pub.
Yeah.
But Yaya's, it was like, I remember shooting there, and it was like the first time I'd ever shot something live. And like, I'm a ADHD hyperactive kid, and I'm running around, and I'm jumping on every table, and thinking like, what kind of angle can I get? Can I jump on the bar? I'm going to jump on the bar. And I remember shooting it, and I was sending him to Tom recently, maybe last year, when he was doing...
I think it's Anne Sabin, maybe. Might have changed again.
His 10 years of Big Tom, and I was looking through the old
yeah,
photos.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, I've improved a lot, because I hadn't looked at him in years, and I was hunting him down, and I was like, fuck, half of these aren't even in focus down. What are you doing back then? I was like, probably just running around being hyperactive fool, but it was good learning. First paid gig? I actually don't remember.
Really?
No.
But you've done a lot of gigs though then,
yeah,
right?
I've done a lot of gigs.
That's a good thing though, yeah. See, I to be honest, I can't really remember my first gig either. Yeah. I can remember my first house party, but I can't remember my first like actual paid Perth gig. Like, I think it was the Flying Scotsman. I was like, I don't know, but yeah.
Oh, great venue.
Yeah, it was cool.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, don't get me started on that place.
Yeah, me either. Yeah, and I mean back then I shot everything. Like some stuff that I would never even have thought that I would shoot. And I don't know how they even contact. I shot like a baptism.
You shot a baptism, okay.
I shot 2 baptisms. And I remember like I was at uni and I shot them. They did pay me and they was like, yeah, just come shoot this. I don't know how they contacted me. I was like, yeah, I'll shoot that. Yeah, whatever.
Can we look up baptism photos? Like, what does a baptism photo look like? Baby in the water,
yeah,
right?
Baby in the water. He was dunking it and I was like, I had no idea what I was doing, what I had to capture. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then they invited...
It's like this, like the mother and the... Click on that second one.
Mine weren't as good as that back then, no way.
No. But at least it's
like
practice
that,
though.
Maybe around there.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. Shooting baptisms, nice.
One you shot 2, but it was just weird. And then I went to their little after gathering because I think it was a Greek Orthodox wedding, and they had this huge food. It's like, yeah, come, and I took some more photos there, and they loaded me up with so much food, and I was like,
it happens, right?
I was like, what am I gonna do with all this?
Yeah, he's giving the roommates. I'll never forget. I gotta say this story. Like, I DJ at Vic Park Hotel for the Harvey Norman Christmas party for Western Australia.
Yeah.
But in saying, no, not the Christmas party. It was like Harvey Norman's. It might have been the Christmas party. I can't remember, but it was really funny that half the people didn't rock up for the party, so they had I took home 38 burgers. That's the best way to put it. They loaded me up. I walk into my car. It was like 5 stack high, and I'm putting it in my car. I come home like, all right, guys, help me. And they're like, what? I'm like, I've got food for everyone. And we finished 38 burgers in 3 days.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, between 5 people. It was crazy. I felt sick. But it happens though, right?
It's good back then because I was at uni, so it's like...
Yeah, free food.
I was like, free delicious, decent food.
That's it, Greek food
Not my 2-minute noodles or my rice that I was sometimes living on.
Yeah.
But I think one of the other ones that I shot was a suspension, and what I thought was going to be like, the hooks in the suspension. I was like, that sounds really cool.
A suspension? Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was a kink club. It was like a kink night. They used to have them at Shape, and it was like, I walk in, the first thing I see, like, I'm expecting, like, someone hanging from hooks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this cool kind of, like, that punky fucking shit.
Yeah.
I walk in, there's a guy in a gimp mask with an erection, and I'm like, am I in the right place?
He's got a boner.
Well, I spoke to him in the night, and I was like, he kept that thing up, and I'm really impressed that, like, for hours. And he was hell political, and I was really, like, thrown off that he had a heart on the whole time and was talking about politics, and I was like, but that was just like a weird.
Yeah, that would have been an experience.
Yeah, not that, like I wasn't prepared for it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, holy fuck, man, this is not what I thought I was photographing.
This is what's so beautiful about art, right? And like photography, videography, this and that. It's like you get thrown in these situations. Like, even DJing as well. You get hired at these venues, these gigs, and you don't really know. And then you go there like, what have I got myself into? Tomorrow I'm playing at Beaumont on the Point for 3 hours for the Alzheimer's Association of WA. So I hope they remember my DJ set. I had to say so that. Bad, yeah. I know that's bad, but I had to say it though.
Yeah, it's weird that you get booked for. It's one of the other things I do love about photography is because you get to meet so many different industries, especially when you work in events or you're just shooting their brands or their kind of portraits. Some people are more interesting than not, and they're always telling you stories or stuff like this, what they do. And I'm like, fuck, this is awesome. And most of the time I instantly forget what they tell me because I've got that.
Yeah, I do the same as well.
It's that ADHD, it's in the drawer. But as soon as I see him again, I'm like, oh, how's that going? And I'm like, why do I remember this but not any other time?
Yeah, it's just that magic power, right? Like, it just happens.
But yeah, it's definitely been a weird and wonderful journey, kind of to where I am now.
Because have you dived into heaps of other industries? So you've done a kink party, you did a baptism, you did a Greek Orthodox dinner after baptism.
I mean, I've done food, I've done portraiture, I've done a bit of advertising.
How does food work? Like, someone just gives you like, here's a plate of Parmesan, like chicken parmy, make it look good.
I mean, that is the what they think it is, and a lot of venues do sometimes just give you that. I remember shooting a venue and they brought this burger out, and it honestly looked like the fucking tomato had been cut with a pair of safety scissors.
Yeah, how do you make this look good?
And I was like, you gotta take that back, hey. I can't shoot that.
Is this your website here?
That was my website. Yeah. It has been a while since I've updated. That's me and my dad. That back one.
Oh, really?
If you go back, you can probably click on a portrait, so it'll come up.
Nice. Okay.
That was.
Let's find the food though.
Yeah. If you go to portfolio, it'll be in there. Food and beverage.
Nice. Yeah, see, that's cool. Yeah, I like these. Yeah, and look at that cheese.
I haven't updated it in a while. I've shot a lot more food
that looks
since
delicious.
these.
But then, like, when you first started taking photos of food and drinks, what was it like? Because had you ever done it before, and you were just trying to get that perfect aperture and this and that? And
I had no idea.
Yeah,
no. I like, so working with Luke and assisting some other photographers, I kind of did the work on learning lighting.
Yeah.
Luke was very good at product lighting, so I learned a bit from him, and also just kind of practice in my own home of like different lighting setups, how I can kind of light different things. which is probably what I've more focused on than the business side. I'm so bad at the business side.
It's difficult, right?
I just don't get it.
Yeah, like, I come from a business background, so I'm lucky. But at the same time, when I first started DJing, like, how do you write up an invoice? I need to get paid. I need to figure this out.
Yeah. I knew the invoice because it was a brickie, but
Yeah,
you know,
that's fair. Yeah.
Wait, you got to use not a paper invoice? You want an email? Because
Yeah.
it was all paper back then.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But so yeah, he taught you about like product, like lighting and stuff.
He's incredible at lighting.
Because that, I like that. Like that glow on the side there, that looks incredible, that cocktail. Like,
yeah, I kind of want a cocktail now.
yeah.
But
yeah.
like when you're kind of lighting big sets in advertising, you're lighting with multiple lights and you're really controlling how that light fits and kind of sits. So every shadow, every highlight is planned.
Yeah.
Which when you kind of get your head around that, you learn it, you can kind of incorporate that and visualize it in other kind of places. So I've spent the last 6 years, instead of kind of being business and trying to get work, taking the work that I have had and pushing slightly and doing a bit more word of mouth, but more practicing my craft and getting really good at what I want to accomplish before I go out and be like, yeah, this is what I do. This is what I want.
That's cool though. That's really cool because then you're building your portfolio, and then you got the gold in amongst your portfolio to be able to just give to someone. And be like, this is what I do. This is why I'm worth what I'm worth. That's a good way to do it.
Pay me those money so I can eat more food.
Yeah, that's it, right? Yeah, the never-ending climb to try and
But food is definitely an interesting one because a lot of people don't get how much goes into it.
Yep. What is it? Can we pull up the chicken burger again? That looks so good. But that's it. Like, look at even that second photo. But look at the lighting on that. Look how it's like dark once again on the top right-hand side, and like those chips and everything. It just the wooden bar top, everything. Where was this though, by the way?
I think that's Flight Club.
Ah, okay.
Maybe.
I was going to ask about that because look, that's obviously Lookout, that third photo.
Yeah.
I can tell, like, a lot of these are Capital Corp photos. So.
Yes, some are, some aren't. Some are they're not Capital Corp anymore. They're Night Owl.
Night Owl. That's
yeah. So they hired me separate from the kind of event work I did for them.
Where was that Japanese bowl? Like, click on that one. Go up. By the way, I haven't eaten lunch today, so I'm very hungry. But look at that.
You just remind me, I've only had breakfast. So.
That looks delicious.
But that's what happens when you're working in line with chefs that give a shit about their food and kind of get that, like, this isn't just going out, this needs to look perfect.
Yeah.
Like, everything's got to be kind of positioned correctly, and some things might need to be propped up so you can see a bit more of the meal. So it's a bit of like food prepping. And there are food stylists out there who just get paid to food style for photo shoots.
Yeah.
And while they're stylists, they probably do other styling as well. But
no, that's incredible. Then. So then, like, you've done food. Then you've done weddings. Then
I've done a few weddings.
Yep.
I mostly only did second shoot on weddings because I hate the grueling editing process of going through a billion photos.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
When you first start weddings, it's another thing, like what people don't understand when you're kind of working as a photographer, you're kind of picking which area you're going to go into because you don't want to kind of shoot everything and be a jack of all trades because you won't specialize, and you want to kind of get, if you're shooting weddings, you want to shoot weddings. You want to be one of the ultimate weddings that you get paid to go travel.
Can you just mute that Facebook? Yeah, already done. Oh, you're done? Okay, sorry. Keep going though, sorry.
But yeah, so I worked as a second shooter mainly because they just paid me money and I found it a bit interesting.
So what's the second shooter? I've never heard that term.
So you have
before.
the first main photographer who's running it.
Yep.
Then he has a second shooter to get different angles, stuff like that. So you got two people attacking from both sides. And basically capturing, so if he's wide and shooting more wide stuff, then I'll probably go telephoto with a 50.
Yep.
Nifty 50, my favorite lens.
Nifty 50, all right.
Yeah.
No, nice, yeah.
But there was a lot of Indian weddings that I was a second shooter on for a long time.
Indian weddings?
Yeah, it was a bit of fun.
Yeah, because it would be very traditional, right? And very
some traditional, some right. Some of the ceremonies where it's like they're banging that fucking drum for the whole night, and I'm like, as much as I appreciate this, like I have noise things, and I'm like,
that's it. Yeah, you hear that, you're like, please stop. There's like a knife on a plate.
But it's definitely been like a learning curve. kind of shooting all these different things because it's kind of made me figure out where I want to go. Because I always thought I wanted to go into photojournalism, which is kind of why I didn't mind doing weddings, because it's kind of that kind of documentary style.
Photojournalism would be like for newspapers. And
newspapers,
social media and stuff like that, like news articles and everything.
Yeah, but I probably always wanted to do the more kind of in-depth features, like the investigative kind of reporting.
Like first on the scene kind of thing as
Not
well?
first on the scene, that's kind of more ambulance chasing kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like the real kind of, like, you're telling a story, you're really spending a bit more time shooting something rather than just, I've captured this and then we're putting it in the paper, because most of that's on their phones now anyway.
That's very cool though, that's very cool.
Which is like, when I did the photojournalism course in China and Philip Blenkinsop there, I was like, I love Philip Blenkinsop's work.
So wait. So you went to China as well?
Yeah, that was 2018.
Okay.
So that was with ECU. There was a group of us that went.
In 2018, 2 years. Ooh, 2 years before the big C.
Yeah. But that was incredible, meeting Philip Blenkinsop and just like, we got like a house on fire. I think it was this weird kind of.
How do you spell his last name again, sorry?
Blenkinsop. Yep. K-I-N. There, it's just there.
So these artists, like obviously I come from a music background with DJing commercial stuff, bloody David Guetta and everything, but how did you discover these artists? Is there like magazines or just social media or like?
These are ACU, because there's so much of a library. I just went through and looked at everything.
Oh yeah, as you said earlier, yeah. So you're just discovering these, yeah.
Which is why I found it beneficial. I find new artists now by just either I go to some of the out there bookstores, Black Crow in Vic Park, Diabolical, or Planet. They normally have different.
So good, yeah.
They normally have different books on there, or I just kind of look at different artists, different photography, and my Instagram. Because I've only ever really looked at photographers and art on my Dan Macbride one, it's literally just comes up with all these new fucking things, and I'm like, oh, that's sick.
Yeah,
I want to look at that.
It's the algorithm, right?
But Philip Blenkinsop was, he shot a lot of photojournalism stuff.
This is cool.
He told a story, because he moved from Melbourne to Thailand when he was 21. And shot a lot, I think that's probably Thailand, shot a lot of the kind of scenes of people being hit by cars and stuff.
Really?
But I remember him talking about how he was like living on potatoes like month to month because it was cheap. So he wasn't making a lot of money, and then someone offered him for one of the things he did, I think it was Sunday Times, offered him like 20s, and he was like, oh yeah, buy me things. He's like, no, 20k. And he's like, but that's when you kind of know you make it, and it's kind of like, there's always a harsh kind of, what's the industry? This industry's brutal. Like, it's not for the faint-hearted. There's a lot of work. You've got to continuously kind of push your skill up. Like, you don't just shoot and be like, I'm an excellent photographer. You know, it's years of looking at photos, taking photos, and really shaping your own kind of style.
That's it, like this. I love that it's in black and white.
So he shot on a Leica, so he only shot film mostly.
Okay.
Last time I spoke to him, he was shooting. He's in Paris now, or France, somewhere in France with his wife. But he was shooting snake skins in his bathtub. So he's also got like an understanding of lighting and composition. Like, it's more of an intelligent image than an art piece, but there's something about it. That's that decisive moment where you look at it and you're like, "Whoa, there's just something there."
Yeah, it's telling a story. Literally telling a story. Like, look at that center one with the car, like how it's moved and it's blurred. Look at that guy.
Yeah,
he's the monk.
I'm all for bringing back the blur and a bit of the dirt.
Yeah,
because like, I love digital cameras because you can shoot more. Especially now they've got the mirrorless and they fix the grain in them and the noise because it's nice and uniform.
Yep.
But people just go for these really pin sharp images, and especially like live band photography. It's like sometimes you don't need that. Sometimes you need a little bit of blur. Sometimes their face doesn't have to be in focus. It can be a little bit dirty because it's a gig and it's telling a story. But no one's real risky. And most of them I see, they're all really pin sharp.
Yeah. That's the thing about it, though. Is that it's like the uniform. It's like everyone just kind of follows suit almost. Instead of like breaking the boundaries, trying something different. I mean, like you said before, you take 1 billion photos for a wedding, right? But then a wedding has that format. Yeah. But when you go to a band, there really is no format, but there is a format. The business is paying you for that vibe, for what they want you to do. But if you came out with something like that, with like, blurring, it looks like rock stars and this and that, the band will probably just be like, can I have that photo? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
But they'll probably want it as well.
That's it, yeah.
Because like...
the
most of them don't really get what photography is. I mean,
yeah, it's a
sometimes
point.
I walk into a shoot and I'm setting up and I'm like, whoa, wow, shit, this is a big setup. I'm like, this is like a basic setup.
Yeah.
Like, I've worked with people that have big setups. Like when Marco Glob came to Perth, who did
Marco Glob.
He did Black Panther.
Okay.
So I was second or third assistant.
How do you spell his last name? Glob.
Glob, yeah, E. Yeah, something like that. I think so. Okay, maybe not. Marco, maybe it's just the without the E. I'm not very good at spelling.
Here we go. Yep. Motion direct collection portraits politics. Yep. Oh damn! Look at that.
Is that him? Yeah, I think that might be him. Yeah. But also incredible understanding of lighting. He has a whole team with him. So he had, when he came,
I mean, is that Leo?
yeah.
Wow.
So the lighting.
Yeah.
But he had first assistant that he came with, that he brought with him, his editor, on-set editor that he brought, that checks focus.
Mm-hmm.
And then second assistant and third assistant. I think I was third assistant on this. Which is great, because that whole day I just got paid $500 to basically do fucking nothing.
Being a
watch
third
this
assistant.
Great guy work. And I
That's
mean, like,
cool. Yeah.
these type of photographers in New York are like, it's not a Perth market isn't like this.
Yeah.
So he would have
No
been
way.
probably, I reckon, on anywhere between 20 and 40K a day when they came over. I mean, he does stuff like this, but also his upkeep would have been in New York.
Look at that. Jonah Hill doesn't even look like Jonah Hill.
It's just lighting. It's all lighting.
Yeah. Doesn't even look like him. He looks so
and
business oriented.
makeup.
And makeup as well, yeah.
Makeup, you got to mention the makeup, because they do an incredible job that complements what they're wearing, what kind of color you're going through, and what kind of vibe you're going through. And it really does change, like, if you're just shooting someone to practice to working with a makeup artist and exploring lighting, it really changes how much you can capture and how much more you can accomplish.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I want to do this like this style, and I want this harsh lighting, but I want this kind of little bit of a glow, but not too much. The makeup artist will put some on, and they'll do their job, and they'll make it so much easier for you to kind of work with that.
But I mean, like, when you're saying about blur, like, look at Lady Gaga right there. I would have that photo on my wall somewhere.
Yeah.
That's how beautiful that photo is. And it's just a portrait of her face. That's all it is. But it's just, look at the expression, the emotion, the story that photo is trying to tell. It's incredible. But if you had that, like, that big...
That's where they're probably meant to be posted. It's just
exactly. Like, if you had a huge... That would be amazing on canvas or something. Or, like, whatever. Like, keep going down, though. Like, this guy is incredible. And he's worked with so many celebrities.
Yeah, I remember, because my friend got me the job. He said, "Do you want to come assist Mark Club?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, I do." Because I think he was the second assistant.
Yeah.
He was trying to talk to him the whole time, and then Marco just kept talking to me about Steve McQueen, how much he loves Steve McQueen. I was like, "Yeah, Steve McQueen's sick."
Steve McQueen. Can we look up Steve McQueen again? Who's that again?
It's the actor.
Oh, the actor.
And all
Steve
I
McQueen.
was like, yeah, he just kept talking to me about all this stuff, and I could see my friend's face, like, I've been trying to talk to him, and you're here for one day, and I've been on shoot with him for like 3 days.
It can happen though. That's the biggest thing about it, right? Is like when people are really professional in their job and they have someone next to them just asking question after question after question, they don't want to do that. They just want to work.
Yeah.
So then, if your mate, the second assistant, would have just like, was
I don't think he
chill,
was asking questions. It just
just wanted to chat to him. Yeah.
yeah. I think he
then-
did, like, yeah.
But some people can find that, they just don't. Some people are just very professional. They keep themselves. But then because you didn't say anything and you just chill, and then he's like, "This guy seems alright." Like,
I think it's also the other bonus of us being ADHD is we have a kind of unique way of connecting with people
Yeah,
compared
I do
to
agree with
a
that.
neurotypical. So people can tend to be drawn to us a bit more, especially creatives,
Yeah.
because pretty much I'm going to say every creative is probably somewhere on the spectrum.
yeah, it's
And
ADHD.
a little bit
and, yeah.
batshit crazy, because I mean you've
That's
got to
it,
be batshit crazy to follow a career in art,
Yeah, you have to be.
and
It's so difficult sometimes to make it work. But like you said that before, that guy, it's like 20 to 40K a day or something like that because he made it.
yeah.
He's made it.
I mean, it's also you kind of go into like the world what we don't kind of do. Like, not everyone's going to make it to that level. We're not
That's
America, we're not in that kind of market.
It. Yeah.
Perth, they let you do a bit of everything to kind of make it. But here it's still evolving. It's still growing into that kind of world market. Like licensing fees aren't as prevalent. People don't really understand that you're like, oh, I'll license that to you. Plus, you've got to pay me for the shoot, and you pay for studio hire. I do not pay for studio hire because if you want a studio, that's your cost, not mine.
That's it.
And
That
if you want me
makes
to do
sense.
it, I'll just add it to the invoice.
Yeah.
But
That makes sense though, and that's
Yeah.
where a lot of people need to realize that though. It's like, you know, if you're hiring a photographer, you're hiring just a photographer. If you want
Yeah.
all these added bonuses and extras and costumes and this and clothing and makeup and whatever else, not your cost.
yeah,
You're just there taking the really good photos.
and it's not that you have the right to the photos either. You're hiring me to take the photos, and then normally I include like 15 select for kind of half day kind of rates for what I do, and then be like, 15 selects that I'll edit and make really fucking cool. And I'll kind of push to where you kind of want to take it. But like, you don't get everything, and if you want more, then you can pay more. But and I don't charge for licensing for band shoots. I do.
So when you say licensing, what do you mean by that?
So you normally kind of like product stuff or any brand stuff, they'll have a license. So even papers, if they like Getty, if they buy like a kind of piece for the paper, if they get it from Getty or they get it from somewhere else, they'll buy it just for that issue, and it will be for that paper and maybe online. So if they start using it again and reprint it, it'll be a one-time print. Normally we put it in the metadata, and it'll be like, hang on, you haven't paid to renew that license.
That makes sense. Yep. So you put in the metadata like
Yeah, I put it in metadata, so it's like it's there.
because what was those things a while ago? I've forgotten about it. It was like crypto, and then there was
Bitcoin?
no, not Bitcoin. No, the pictures. You get like Bored Ape and stuff like
Oh yeah.
NFTs.
NFTs,
Yeah, and they're
yeah.
putting in the NFT, and it's like, oh, you saved my JPEG. What are you gonna do? But yeah, like that makes
NFTs
sense.
are a weird concept.
They
But it was
are,
more
yeah.
like you own the rights to a digital image, and I
Yeah.
was like, I don't really get it,
Yeah,
and also I don't really care.
yeah, that's it, right?
I mean, if I want to own an art piece, like what we see here, I'll
Yeah.
be like, you know, if I'm going to pay 10K for a fucking digital image that I'm going to look up on my computer screen this big, I would rather pay 10K to have something that I can put in my house, and I'm like, that's
I
fucking
wish
sick.
I could have that Lady Gaga photo in
Yeah.
my house. That would be so cool. Like,
You've probably like one of the most famous photos of Marilyn Monroe. Look up
is it her in the glass?
what's his name? Not Ansel.
Look at Marilyn Monroe famous photos. Maybe.
Yeah. Richard Avedon.
Richard Avedon.
So Richard Avedon,
I'm gonna say I really like it how you know all these artists. Like, we've never dived into this before on the podcast, and this is so cool.
so there is
So cool.
Yeah, that's it. So this photo by Richard Avedon was actually an off take. So normally you see Marilyn Monroe in everything that she's posing. She's always in character. She's always
Yeah.
doing.
She looked
her thing.
short in that photo.
I think she was short.
Yeah, that's
But,
in every
um,
other photo. She looked tall and like, you know.
So I think this was
Strong.
actually at a gala or a party. I think from my knowledge, from what I remember, don't quote me on that. And it was an off take, and Richard Avedon had kind of just shot it, and it's this beautiful moment where, like, it's just a beautiful photo. Like, she's not in character, and she's just kind of looking
Just
out,
existing,
and
being her.
it's just wonderful. But Richard Avedon's early when I started getting into portraits was one of my favorite portrait photographers. Really beautiful, soft, delicate lighting.
Can we
And I
look through
think-
his collection, if that's all right? Yeah, let's have a look through. Yeah.
Does a huge amount of series. I think one of his books he did. Yeah, it is. This is one. So he did a series of the work. Is it Richard Avedon or Irving Penn? I'm getting confused.
It's very cool though. Very
Mm.
old school.
You wouldn't notice the Bob Dylan one. That's real famous.
But which one?
The Bob
Go
Dylan one.
On the left there. Yeah, I've seen that before. Yeah.
But
That's so
I think it was
cool,
Irving
though.
Penn that did this series. So Irving Penn did a series on basically the working class
Okay.
as a book, and recently it's come to a lot of people's knowledge that he shot X amount of people, and in the book I think there's 140 around, or maybe 120, but there was like maybe 100 or 200 people more that he shot, and he destroyed all that film. Like, he destroyed, so that doesn't exist anymore. And I remember people asking, like, oh, why do you do that? Like, what if those people want it? For one, when Richard Avedon shot this series, it wasn't for the people. It was for his fascination with the working class. It was for his fascination going in and shooting what he finds interesting and capturing in them in their everyday life, which for me, I love that. That's kind of where I sit sometimes as well. I just like sit in the city and I just watch people do their everyday, and I'm like,
I love that people watching.
I want to shoot this,
Yeah,
but I want to
cool.
shoot it in my way. Like I want to add a bit of me to it.
That's epic.
And it's not for the people. It's not for anyone else. I mean, people will love it. Maybe they will hate it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's for me. So when he destroyed all that film, it was because these are the only photos that he ever wants people to see, because he didn't like the other ones. So he never kept them. And it's a kind of like a lot of old photographers will destroy their film of shit they don't want. Otherwise, if you die, you'll get someone that releases this stuff, and you'll be sitting there in your grave going, fuck.
Yeah, that's it. I wish I didn't release. I wish I actually got rid of that stuff.
Yeah.
I went through my deep records and found yeah, that's it. Found my original mixtape. That's awesome, though.
But
So
Irving Penn's another one who really uses and shapes lighting in an incredible aspect like that.
yeah, look at that.
That cutting
No
of the
neck.
light is just beautiful. And this is an old photographer, so this is like...
This is the 50s and 60s, right?
Yeah. Really, really kind of like, you know, when you kind of look at this stuff and you're wanting to create and you're really wanting to fuck around with lighting, you're getting excited, and then you're shooting, and then you're kind of not getting excited because you look at that and then you look at your work when you learn, and you're like, fuck, I'm crap.
Yeah.
And then people are like going, yeah, no, it's awesome, and you're like, it's okay, it's not great, it's not bad, it's just okay. But when you're learning, you know, that's what it is. You've got to come to terms that it's not always going to be
perfect.
a hit. Yeah.
That's the biggest thing as well about being an artist, right? Is exactly that. Everything you do as an artist will never be exactly what you want.
Yeah.
You'll be close to it, or you'll be far from it, but at the same time, it's your art. So same thing with DJing and producing music. It's like if you produce a song, it's like you might make a really cool song. It might be really catchy and this and that, but what you started with is probably completely different.
Yeah, which is why you just need to do it.
Yeah, just do it, and then you just look at the results later. Like, these photos are incredible.
Yeah.
But then, so like for an average shoot, how many photos would you normally take? Like, it just depends on what the client wants,
well,
right?
it's digital now, so back then it probably would have been less because it's film.
Yeah.
But they probably would have maybe shot anywhere between 4 to 5 rolls.
Yeah, look at that, Louis Armstrong.
You can kind of
Duke Ellington, yeah.
I probably overshoot a lot with bands because there's like, you know, there's different head movements. The Caballero shoot I did, so that was a half day, and I
Caballero, like as in the tequila bar.
No, Caballero is the band.
Oh, the band, yeah.
So one of the photos that I sent before. So if it pulls up,
he's onto it.
I'm not grassing you up, I swear. I get a little bit excited sometimes, you know. But when I shot this, so setting it up, I remember getting there in the morning and I was like seeing all these people come in, and I was like a little bit like, oh shit, that's
I just full screen, it's alright. Yeah, there we go.
It's more people than what I thought.
Yeah, how many people are there?
Quite a few.
There's a lot, yeah.
And then I was looking at how we're gonna do it because it's for a record. The record's been released now, so a record front cover, which is fucking cool.
That's a cool photo for a record.
And then I'm like looking at them and I'm setting up lightings, how I kind of want the lighting.
What's that guy's name sitting on the couch? I think I know that dude.
That's Jake England, lead singer of, and probably he basically is the Caballeros.
Okay, no, maybe I don't know him.
You probably do know him. He's been a musician for years. He's been in the scene for years.
So he's local Perth guy.
Local Perth
Yeah,
guy.
and he used to work at Lucy's Love Shack a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I had no idea.
he contacted me and we had a meeting, and it was like we were developing, and Paul was going to me. I was like, I got something like this, and I was like, oh, I got this. I got some examples. Or I know exactly where you want to go with this, and I can kind of visualize it in my head, but I hadn't kind of met the talent until the day, and the costumes I hadn't seen. And we had I think it was Paul's sister come up and help do the set design, so they had all these extra little bits in there, so everything's kind of planned, and I've just moved around a little bit to what fits. And then organizing everyone, I was like, when I looked at it, there was a little sheer panic, and I was like, fuck, man, that's a lot of people. How am I going to organize this?
Yeah.
And because it's kind of a short set, and you don't think when you're shooting, like people don't think when you're shooting, right? There's a perspective element. So you can't, if you're shooting, like I'm shooting low, because that's how I want it. I want to kind of look up at Jake. So when you see the record, you're kind of looking up to this guy on the couch.
Yeah.
And when you're shooting like that, you're not taking him to the back. You have to lift them up. So I ran out of things to lift the people up on, and I was like, the two girls at the back left are standing on a box like this big.
Really?
Nice. Yeah.
Just
So
it
it was kind of like a, yeah. And once I started setting up, like I get into the zone, the lighting, I kind of had an idea of what I wanted. The original lighting I wanted to do, the moon was meant to be in the top right.
The moon? Where the girl's
moon
legs
is in
crosses?
the window on the left.
On the left.
That's a red moon, because so everything in there is a part of a song on the album.
Ah,
So
that makes sense.
it's very conceptualized. So like you can kind of listen to the album, see the names, and there's a part in all of there with references to some of the
cool.
other things they do.
I love the floor as well, like the painting on the right hand side, like the memorabilia, like the girl crossed legs. Like I thought they were sitting on a table because how that girl has her legs in the air.
Yeah.
I
So
thought
that
like-
is actually a circus, a portable circus circle.
Oh.
And we did have photos with her head up, but we thought the leg one was better.
Yeah,
You know,
that's cool. It just gives off that vibe. It's just like
You
it's
can
like a
just
party
see her
vibe.
head in between
just there.
the librarian and
Yep.
and like I'm bad with names sometimes, so I was just calling out their characters,
Yeah.
and it's pretty much just me for like 4 hours or like probably about 3 hours of shooting, just shouting different characters and getting people like, no, don't move, don't move, don't
Yeah,
move.
stay there,
I'm
stay
telling
there.
this person to do a little movement, so you just stay there.
That's cool.
But yeah, and this was shot in a studio,
Mm.
and then I needed to put a room in to make it, to make it kind of like it has to be look a bit real.
Yeah.
So the room was actually my front room, and I measured it, and I measured where the couch was. The couch is mine as well, so I claim that off tax. 'Cause I've used it in a shoot now, so
Yeah,
tax
that's
write-off.
it. Yeah, nice. Very nice.
That's a 101 rule. If you use it, anything that you buy in your house
Yeah,
for work, it's tax write-off.
that's it.
But I measured it, and I measured my room and like the front room, because I was like, I'm not gonna have time to go find a room that's the right perspective. So when you kind of edit something in, you want to try and get the perspective the same. Otherwise, you're going to do more work. I mean, I could have 3D mapped a room and built a room in 3D imaging, but that also would have taken me time because my skill in that is limited. But I was like, okay, if I put the camera here, it's close, and I was spending about 10 minutes like, how the fuck am I going to focus this? And completely forgetting that new cameras, you can flip the screen. And I'm like, oh, dickhead. So I put the couch in, and then I just kind of measured it, and then I added wallpaper, and I moved the window back, and I took out my door. So there's a bit of editing in there, but
Yeah, wow. So how did you go about taking the door out? Whereabouts was the door originally? Behind the girl with the legs in the air?
I did send the original. So that's the
Oh,
original.
no way. That's the original.
That's the original in studio. So originally I planned to have the red moon in the top right. That's why that red light was there.
Yep.
There was more red at the front in some of the other shots that weren't selected.
That is
And
so cool.
The back left, was meant to be a blue gel, but I burnt that blue gel
Yeah.
and the front red gel completely, just like it's a hot flashlight, so it just warps. So I burnt that off.
That's so
That's,
cool.
that's how long we were shooting for, and then so it was probably about 10 hours of editing.
Damn.
Really working and stuff, because I pulled out bits from every different person. But yeah, it was a really fun shoot, but kind of
That's
something like that was a half day just for one shot,
Yeah.
which is kind of how it works. I mean, you're really conceptualizing an image, so you're kind of really most of the time just that's what you're doing. It's not about how much you get, it's about what less is more. Like, we accomplished a lot. I'll probably turn the kind of other raws into like a little fucking reel, because there's so many different expressions.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was epic. It was a fun
That
shoot.
is an epic shot, though. I would not have guessed the original compared to that. Like, I just thought that, yep, they're all in your house. It's like, no, you just decked out your house, took a
Yeah.
photo of that, and then photoshopped them in, basically.
So the door would have been just going through an arm on the other image.
Yeah.
But like organising that many people, man.
Yeah, that's it. It would have been difficult.
I mean, like when I'm in my zone, I'm in my zone, and
Yeah.
like I kind of like I shoot a few musicians now, and you know musicians have big egos, but also
they can do. Yeah.
I take from Helmut Newton, who's a
Helmut Newton.
Helmut Newton's a fashion photographer.
Okay.
Did a lot
Let's Google that guy.
There'll be a bit of nudity in some of his work.
No, it's alright.
He was a photographer that pushed nudity into the fashion world, into an art thing, one of them.
He's got photos of Bowie. Oof, that's cool.
But he really pushed boundaries with lighting and shooting midday, which is like, us photographers, oh, shoot at midday. Don't do that. It's harsh sunlight. But he does make it work. Look up Helmut Newton French alleyway. There's 2 photos here. If you go to images. Okay, these are none of Helmut Newton's work. How do you spell Helmut Newton? Helmut, M-E-N-T.
E-N-T?
Yep.
Helmet.
So click on, down to the third one. No, one more. To the right. That one.
Oh, that's cool.
So this shot,
Look at that.
this shot, I think what was going on was they were driving back from a shoot, and he's seen this lighting in the alleyway, and he's like, pull over. And he's like, shot it, and it's like this beautiful French alleyway. And he's come back. If you scroll down, is there any more? Okay, there's another one. He's come back another time and taken pretty much the exact same photo.
Is that with Audrey Hepburn on the left-hand side? So go 2 over, 3 left. That one there.
Yeah.
That's cool. He took photos with her. Yeah, but yeah, go on. Sorry.
So he's come back, shot it, but with a naked girl over, kind of resting on it, and it is even more beautiful than that shot.
Really?
It's probably one of my favorite kind of things of like.
Maybe look up naked after or something like that. Oh no, just Helmut Newton French alleyway naked.
Oh, it's right there, top on the far right.
On the far right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's a series, but like, so the first one was shot on a different day, and he's come back and shot it because as you see the car in the background, it's a different day, and that one of them's more wet. But he's like, oh, I can make this better. So he's seen this location, he's shot it, and he's seen it, he's developed the film, and he's gone like, I'm not happy with this. I can create another one, you know? And he's gone back and shot it and add a bit of nudity into it, and it's even more
it looks
spectacular than the original. Which is something I've got to say about when you're creating is like, when you shoot something
right-click view image
for yourself, don't just be happy with like what you get. If you have this idea of like, oh, you know, I wanted more from this, and it's for you. Like you're not getting paid for it, or if you're getting paid for it, don't tell them that you can do more. Just take it into the next shoot. But if you're like creating something for yourself and you're doing this portrait, and you're like, oh, you know, now I've looked at these and I've had a couple of days to kind of decompress, and I see it, I'm like, actually, I want to reshoot this. Just do it. Reorganize the shoot and just do it. And if it's for like if you're getting paid for a shoot and you realize like, oh fuck, I can do better, take that into your advisement. Don't tell the client, because they'll be like, oh, you can do better, why the fuck didn't you do it on the shoot?
Yeah.
But like take it in and be like, oh, I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna try this next time, which is like, you know, it's taking risk, but it's also pushing your boundaries and what you see. Because the more you shoot, the more like, because like when I shot the Caballeros one, it was a quick kind of turnaround. So I didn't get my normal time to kind of sit on it for as I like. So I might have changed a few things, might not have. But now I'm happy with it. I've had a few weeks. I'm like, yeah, this is sick. This is fucking sick. Because like sometimes I'm like, I shoot something and I'm like, I'm not really happy with it, or I don't know if I like it, because I'm still in that realm of like picking apart all the tiny aspects that no one actually probably notices apart from me. And I'm like, oh yeah, but I could have done this. Maybe I would have added this. And then after, you know, a couple of weeks, like, actually, it's fucking sick. Let's be honest.
That's it. Yeah. That's where it's like it's the artist nitpicking his art to try and make it even more perfect. But then you come back a couple of weeks later, you're like, nah, it's good.
Yeah. Perfect in the imperfect.
That's it. Yeah. let's go back to the other photos that you put up because we're running out of time. We've only got like 15 minutes left, but this is so. I'm loving every bit of this. Like, yeah, like pull up. Yeah, maybe that one.
This is Clayton Brown.
Clayton
So I had
Brown.
an idea for Clayton.
That looks so cool.
So sometimes when I shoot people, I get an idea and I pitch to them of what I want to do.
Mm.
Other times they come to me and they give me either if it's a band, I'm like, I'll listen to your music. Give me a kind of idea of what you're about, and I'll come up with something. Like I just had a meeting with a band, and I came up with all this inspo, and I come around and he's like, this is kind of what we're looking for, and I was like, this is what I've got, and he's like, that's fucking exactly what we want, but better. And I'm like, well, yeah, you told me, and I kind of sat for like 6 hours just visualizing in my head and thinking, what would you like? So, but you can see the original of this. So I lit this to edit it a certain way. So I had the green and the red, so I could edit in this real burnt orange sky that I'd shot previously somewhere else during a sunset for this shoot.
Oh, that's what that is.
So I've added red in the back, and I comped in the orange sky, which I shot before the shoot on a nice kind of beautiful sunset, and that's all I wanted, just to comp into this. So I went and shot that just to add that in before I had actually shot this, because I'd had this idea of how I wanted it to kind of look. If we go to Noah, Noah Skate. Noah Skate's another musician, incredibly talented punk theatrical. If you have a chance to go see him, I definitely would. He's very
he's the guy that's doing the rounds at the moment, right? Noah,
Yeah.
he's
So he
I thought he
contacted
had long
me,
curly hair.
and we had a meeting, and I was like, I pulled out some of my art books, and I was like, I want to explore around here. If you pull up so we did 3 different outfits and 3 different lighting setups. So this photo, it was kind of an offshoot, and he was on the floor, and he was just like stretching and breathing, and I was like, that's it, that's what I want. So I'm getting him to kind of do these big breaths, and I kind of had to stop because I have to tell people, like, I will just keep going, and I forget that, like, you're a person, and you also need a break, because like, he's holding this kind of like awkward position, hyperventilating.
Yeah, it looks like.
And he looks at me, he's like, oh good, I think I'm about to pass out. I'm like, yeah, don't do that because I'm responsible for you. But yeah, it's this really it's kind of angelic, but also kind of like it's a really beauty to it. And I really loved when I saw him breathe. I was like, that's what I want. Like, you know, when you kind of shoot someone, and it's not like the first image I'm looking for. Sometimes, like, if it's a portrait or like a headshot, it'll be like, yeah, we get it in a 30, 40 photos. If it's something like this, the more we experiment, the more we push, the more we kind of start to explore, the more we're kind of in sync, and the more I'm like looking and I'm seeing how you're acting and or what you're doing and what you're bringing. I'm like, that's it, I want to explore around there. And like, I have shot some conceptual nudes, but I didn't bring those. And also,
that's fair.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to them about using them. I've just kind of like, I had this idea where it was like, I want to shoot the human body, but how it kind of contracts and moves, and how creases fold into your body and different body types.
That's cool as shit.
So but I'm getting people to hold these positions for like fucking ages.
And they're almost like hyperventilating or passing out.
And I'm like, I had a friend, I'm like, no, just keep turning. I'm like, I don't turn that much. I'm like, turn more.
You can do it. Do it for
but like,
arts,
it created across the ribcage this beautiful kind of crease here, and it stretched the body, and I was like, that's what I want. Now, have a rest. I've got to move my lighting to kind of get this better. But
it's do it again.
yeah, but it's exploring around that area, and it's kind of like, I think Helmut Newton kind of says it as well. He takes a lot of photos and gets you to hold the same kind of position, and I think a lot of photographers will, when you're working in that area, getting a bit tongue-tied 'cause my mouth's dry. But it's, I want more, and I'm looking for something, and I haven't probably quite got there. And then the more it goes on, the more you're giving to me, the more you're getting comfortable, you're taking directions, because when you're in front of a camera, what you think is normal doesn't look normal.
That's it.
And it's like, I'm also trying to bring a bit of you out, a bit of your character. I'm also trying to get you to give me, or depending what the shoot is, to give me a bit of personality, give me a bit of kind of like who you are, especially if it's a band shoot where it's like something like this. I mean, if you go back to that other one,
that's so cool.
The concept, like, it's a completely different vibe to this one, but it's like, you know, it's
That's
giving
it.
him. This was the only lighting setup that I hadn't planned, because the other two I had an idea in my head, and I got really fucking lucky with having a beauty dish, and I moved it, and I was like, and I shot, and I was like, I love that, just that line across the top. It just fits perfectly, the highlight.
I just love the
And
curve of the background. Everything.
Yeah, that was an accident.
That was an accident.
I didn't plan this lighting. I just kind of moved it and was like, I'm just going to quickly do it, because it was the last shot of the day, or the last kind of concept that we're going for. And it was like, I was like, I love that curve. And I was like, I love that highlight coming across the back, slightly over the top. And originally I had it that it was like no fill on the side, so it was a lot darker. And then I've just kind of moved 6x4 silver to the left side and a little bit of fill. So it's still kind of dark, but it's nice. It's kind of real. It's a nice contrast.
That's so cool.
And if you go to the Jody Noel and Creon ones, there's some. They are the super colorful ones. That is this one. Yeah.
Yeah, so what are these?
So these, Jody Knowles is a WA mural artist that lives, I think, in Melbourne now.
Okay.
And that's her partner, Creon, another mural artist. If you go to, there should be 3 of them, not that one.
Yeah, because that's like the traditional, like the
Gothic.
Yeah, like
that one.
The
So this one, because Jody Knowles would like that Clayton photo of the thing. So I love these. I would love to work with you. And I was like, cool. I want to, because I love her artwork. I'm like, yeah, I want to shoot something as well. And I kind of came up with this concept. I was like, I want to do a Dave LaChapelle high contrast, high color, mixed with Kath and Kim and classic Australia. That was my pitch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's like, yeah. And then
let's do it.
Then she told me that she met Dave LaChapelle and at a party in Melbourne, and he's like, he didn't talk to me until he saw that I had the same tattoo, which is Be Brave. And I'm like, what the fuck, you met? Oh, I'm so jealous. But I was on another shoot, and I drove down to Bunbury to shoot this, and we kind of got this kind of cool shot in a very limited time. But this is the only shot I planned, and it was like, there's a few around this area, and I'm like, I love it. It's just like this weird Australia kind of real contrasty. But like, I think I'm going to start experimenting around here with a bit more color than them, because most of my other stuff is very moody. And then we got the other 2 afterwards. So you go to that Gothic Australia one, which is kind of like a classic Australian bar with utensils. And the baby's head on there is actually their baby Opie.
Oh, baby's head. Ah.
It's their baby, yeah, Opie. There is a couple with their baby in it, but I didn't send those because I just love this.
Yeah.
The non-expression kind of, it's like, you know, it's basically the same pitch that I said. Dave LaChapelle meets classic Australia, Kath and Kim. And
it's just so cool because every bit of the background is interesting.
There's
something going on.
Their parents' house in Bunbury's actual bar in the back garden, which is like pretty kind of iconic to Australia, because a lot of places have these kind of cool fucking bars in the background that are just weird and fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So I just used that, and I was like, I love this. This is great. And the American Gothic just happened to come into it. And then the rusty utensils were just there, and I'm like, it just worked. It was just on the fly, finding stuff and changing outfits, the jumpsuit and the Bunnings hat, the apron. It just worked.
Yeah.
I was excited.
That's awesome.
I was very exhausted afterwards. So sometimes I get exhausted, but
where do you want to go with all of this? What is your direction? Like, what's your goals for photography and videography? We didn't even dive into videography yet.
Yeah.
No, like we've got to.
That's a whole different
That's
another
what I mean.
world.
I want to get you back on. This has been so cool. So cool.
So I just taken 2.5 months off and taken a break from shooting venues because I was kind of burning myself out just doing all these other things. I think heading forward is kind of like where I'm kind of deciding where I want to go, and I'm like, I want to create more stuff like this, more stuff like Noah's stuff, more stuff.
Yeah.
More band portraits where I really get to dig in and really push the boundaries of what we can do. I have a few ideas where I'm like, I want to shoot people's portraits, a band's portrait, and kind of like shoot it in different lighting and then rip it apart, print it out, rip it apart, and then put a collage together and then shoot it again, so you get that contrast of what it is, and then do like each one's got a grade on, and then just have that as an album artwork, which is like, you know, I just want to explore. That's not on there. That's just an idea.
Yeah.
I I just want to explore the creative world. I think I want to get more work like this. I do want to. I mean, I am a full-time photographer, videographer. I do a bit of producing. I do. I guess I just want to create. I want to really sink my teeth into being my authentic self, and that is weird as fuck sometimes.
No, that's awesome though. Like, I didn't, honestly, getting you on the podcast, I thought we were going to talk about venue photography and not all this amazing cool stuff.
Venue photography,
so cool.
I kind of did because it was over COVID. It was paying the bills.
That's it.
But this is where I sit these days.
Yeah.
That's why I said originally I wanted to be a photojournalist, and I think there's still a side of me that wants to kind of go on the realm of creating documentaries and like telling stories of people, but really sinking my teeth into and really creating something that you watch and you think, fuck, yeah, that's fucking super informative. And also, you know, I have an idea that like I'm at the moment trying to see if I can get a grant for, where I want to go across Western Australia and shoot the dying kind of aspects of old Australia that are dying, like towns.
That's so cool.
But shoot it in like my kind of style with like a bit of contrast, where it's like it's kind of documentary, but it's also kind of really fucking portrait, like the Irvin Penn kind of Worker Man series, or what was that? Todd. There's another photographer that shot kind of across the American landscape that I love. I did take his course on Magnum, which the Magnum is like a world of photographers. It's full of them. That's where you can find photographers. So if you like photojournalism and stuff like that, is Magnum Photographers.
Yep.
One of the biggest kind of photography known kind of places that put out books and stuff like that. But yeah, I just want to kind of explore, and then also people pay me money so I can eat food and live.
Yeah,
because that would be nice.
And enjoy your hobby. That's also your job. Like,
Yeah.
That's the thing about it, right? Is like a lot of people, they try and break out into the artistic industry, but they can't make it work, and then they just get normal jobs.
Well, I'd say like I wouldn't call it a hobby for me. I'd call it like if I couldn't have a medium to create. Like when I was bricklaying, I did get really depressed because I hated it.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, it's not your thing. Like,
yeah, and I did so many jobs. Like I'm also a qualified tire fitter because I did that for a sabbatical. I was also rubbish, 6 days a week, and like it was fun working with the guys, but like it's shit.
Yeah.
Some people love it. Some people love bricklaying. I'm just not one of them. And I think like I will always shoot. I will always take photos. And I think if I couldn't and I didn't find this when I did, honestly, don't think I would have made it. So it's not just like to me, it's like an extension of me. So it's like how I express myself, how I explore the world, how I kind of go, yeah, this is part of my brain. This is also part of my being. Everything I want to shoot it's part of me.
So cool. Like honestly, it's just so inspiring. It's so amazing because like as I said, I thought it was just be venue photography, but then it's like we just dived into all of this, and it's like this is more.
I do think I have. Can I bring my book? I don't know. Oh, it's not in this book.
No, that's right.
I was gonna be like, I'll show you one of the sketches of how. To me, it makes sense, but normally when I sketch out an idea, it's in a Darth Vader kind of Parker pen that I've had for about 10 years, and it's like it's so nice to write with. You just get new cartridges, and it's like I love it. I'm also like I'm on the dark side. I'm like Darth Vader writing my phone, but I like sketch out these really crappy fucking sketches, and it's pure insanity. It's just like I go back and look at it, and I'm like, how did this person, like when I'm sketching this out of how I want to kind of like put these people into a thing and be like, yeah, this is going to be sick. And I'm like, I know I'm talking a lot of stuff when I'm doing it, but I'm looking like, I don't even know what the fuck this is. I get it, Dan.
Yeah.
Like this is like I've scribbled over here where I'm going to put a line. I'm like, this is just like a child scribbling in a book.
But it can make sense though. Like
yeah.
Right?
Like which is interesting because like a lot of shoots like this are planned, like conceptual. Like you don't just go in without an idea in your head. You don't go in raw. You just kind of like. I sit there sometimes for a couple of days thinking about how I'm going to shoot someone. I get inspo and I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And I think about how I'm going to light it. I think, you know, what I'm going to do. What color backdrop do we want? Do we want backdrop? Where are we going to go location wise? Which is where that Clayton one, I was like, I really want to shoot in that John Forrest tunnel. One of the original ideas, because he sent me an inspo, he was like, we're going to shoot that one. I was like, in my head, it would never work. Because the Nick Cave photo that is that way, where it's like an archway, it's quite small compared to what the John Forrest is. So I already knew that wasn't going to work. So in my head, I hadn't told him. I just kind of gone, yeah, I'm going to do it this way. And then even though it was like, oh, we're going to shoot it the other way. And I'm like, oh, we'll try this first. And I showed him and he's like, oh, yeah, this is sick. Because it shapes him as well. It frames his head nicely and it's...
Yeah.
And we did get some extra from those where we just like, I shot it like 1-2 and something with like a light and his partner was holding. I was like, hold that card there. Yeah, closer in, closer in. I just want to cut that light a little bit more.
Yeah, very nice.
It's very like minute, tiny little adjustments that really make an image. And it's when you're being shot and you see how small it is. It'd be the same music, how you just change something so tiny, but it's like so dynamic of
It
how
can be
everything
so
changes.
impactful, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. We basically run out of time though.
Yeah.
So we got to wrap it up. But honestly, thank you so much for coming on. Like, this has been so good, and I really want to do part 2 and dive into the videography. I really want to dive into videography. And after this, I want to talk about actually like potentially hiring you to get some portraits of me. Like the first,
Yeah, for sure.
the first photos were awesome. Like, it's so cool. But yeah, cheers so much for coming on though. Like,
That's all right.
This has been
great.
good. Yeah, I told you, right? It's fun, right?
I thought I was going to drink more beer, but I think I just like didn't.
Yeah.
I had one whole beer.
That's it, yeah. All right, so we will see you guys next week on Thursday. And next week we have Becca Bradley on. I need to do research again and figure out what she's doing, but but it's going to be good though. We're booked up until September now.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like so many guests have hit me up. We're like, yeah, all right, yeah, we'll book you in. Yeah, we'll book you in. And then like, I forgot what they do. Like, I have to say, like last week I was like, yeah, no, Dan McBride's coming on. And I completely forgot. And then like after saying, I was like, wait a minute. No, I met him at the Claremont Hotel. Wait, yeah, it was a silent disco. Yeah, photography. And I was like live on camera being like, oh yeah, no, this guy's gonna be good.
I was like, there's things we do for money and then there's things that we actually do why we got into the game, really.
That's it. That's exactly it. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
This has been great.
This has been so much fun. All right, we will see you guys next week, and hopefully it won't be as cold because I'm freezing my
They will
ass
see
off.
you, I won't.
Yeah. All right, we will see you guys next week. All right, catch ya.